We are getting closer to the running of the Preakness at Pimlico, and the one piece of news that came out earlier this week, Muth, the 8-5 favorite odds, has been scratched dealing with the fever. The Bob Baffert trained colt and also Arkansas Derby winner spiked a temperature earlier this week when he arrived in Baltimore. The one good thing that does open the door for others in the second leg of the Triple Crown here, the closer we get. Taking a look at the odds. Of course, I mentioned Muth out this weekend. Kentucky Derby winner Mystic Dan is still in the field. 5-2 odds there, along with Catching Freedom 6-1 and Tuscan Gold. Others that have been in the conversation the closer we get to Saturday, but just to name a few that have a shot. And no need to speculate because we have an expert in our midst here. My guy, Gene Menez. We'll get to that in a second, breaking this all down. But, of course, your initial reaction with Muth out of the field here, catching maybe a little eye there from the Preakness Stakes. Who are we looking at when you look at the rest of the horses here?
Yeah, this was a devastating blow for the Preakness Stakes. Muth had won the Arkansas Derby comfortably by 2 lengths. He was positioned to run really well on Saturday. Of course, he was not eligible to run in the Kentucky Derby because of trainer Bob Baffert's suspension at Churchill Downs, and he was going to be my pick originally going into the race. He's a fast horse, and his defection from the race really changes the speed complexion. Now, Baffert's other horse, Imagination, is likely going to be the lone leader in this race, and there's not a whole lot of other speed. You know, Muth was going to be probably the pace setter, but now it really kind of opens things up, and the big winner with the defection of Muth has got to be Mystic Dan.
For a day, we're going to name you Mystic Gene because of what you did not too long ago and name your Kentucky Derby winner. By the way, he was a long shot with Mystic Dan. But big picture here, how much of this is a benefit for him not having Muth in that field?
Yeah, it really is a benefit to Mystic Dan because Muth is going to be a considerable horse to beat. You know, Bob Baffert has won this 8 times, which is a record, and he's going for number 9 on Saturday. You know, 2 weeks ago, I gave out Mystic Dan as a live long shot at 18-1, and he came through. Of course, he famously hugged the rail on that day, got a ground-saving trip, and won by a desperate nose. Now, coming back in 2 weeks to win the Preakness is a completely different story. You know, it's not that easy for a horse to come back after a draining effort like that. As a matter of fact, Mystic Dan, after he won his first career race, he came back in 2 weeks and he failed. He finished 5th in a field of 11, lost by 8 lengths. So history is not on his side coming back in 2 weeks. Trainer Ken McPeak, actually, when after Mystic Dan won the Southwest Stakes, he decided he didn't want to come back in 3 weeks to run in the Rebel because he thought that was too soon to come back, and now he's coming back in 2 weeks. So, you know, the horse racing fan in me will be rooting for Mystic Dan. There's nothing more than I would like to see than Triple Crown be on the line in the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga this year. But I got to tell you, because of the 2-week rest, and he's now going to be a really short price, maybe 7-5 to 6-5, I cannot, the horse player in me can't play Mystic Dan on Saturday.
Of course, we would love to see that history there, as you mentioned there, but it all starts with the Preakness. I'm curious, since we're not going Mystic Dan, it sounds like with your pick, who are we picking with this weekend?
So trainer Chad Brown has won this twice before, the Preakness twice before, with horses, talented 3-year-olds who did not run in the Kentucky Derby. In 2017, he won it with Cloud Computing, and in 2020, he won it with Early Voting. And I think he's going to win it again this year with Tuscan Gold, who is a lightly raced horse. He's only raced 3 times in his career, and just twice this year. In his last start, he finished a good 3rd in the Louisiana Derby, and if that race was a 16th of a mile shorter, he may have been able to hold on for even better than 3rd. Now he goes into the Preakness Stakes off 8 weeks rest. He's well rested. Trainer Chad Brown said he's training the best that he's ever trained in his career, and he's scheduled to make the 3rd start of his form cycle, which is usually a horse's best. He was 8-1 on the morning line before Muth came out. He obviously won't be 8-1 after the defection of Muth. I'm expecting somewhere in the range of 4-1, maybe even 7-2. But he's going to be my pick to win the Preakness Stakes.
Okay, we won't double down on Miskett Ned, but I will double down with you. I'm listening to Tuscan Go, and I put my $200 on that. And if I'm broke on Monday, we'll have a conversation. But before I let you go, Black Eyed Susan, you got a pick for me?
You know, Recharge is likely going to be the lone speed. She's out on the outside. She's trained by Steve Asmussen, and she's never beaten a field this good. But I like her on the front end to win on Friday.
All right, G. Menez, there he is, breaking it down. He gave your pick for both there. Black Eyed Susan. Appreciate it as always, G.